Consul General of Pakistan Muhammad Ashraf organized a webinar to observe the second anniversary of revocation of special status of Kashmir by India in Sydney on 5th August. Syed Fakhr Imam, Federal Minister of National Foods and former Chairman Kashmir Parliamentary Committee, Azaz Ahmad, Dr. Ali Sarfaraz, President Kashmir Council were the speakers of this webinar. Prominent community members Ijaz Khan, the President of Pakistan Australian Association, Insaf Khan, President of Pakistan Engineering Association, and the CEO of Pehchan TV Shafaq Jafri also attended this webinar. Dr. Ali Sarfaraz informed the audience of the plight of the people of India illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir since the withdrawal of special status of India illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir by the Indian government on 5th August 2019. Syed Fakhr Imam said, India wanted to become the overlord of the region. The Indian actions are illegal and the world is increasingly become concerned.
2 years of illegal unilateral occupation of Jammu and Kashmir by the Modi government has completely changed the strategic paradigm of our region and perhaps of the larger global picture at large. The Indian government's unilateral and illegal action really shows that I'm sure my previous speakers must have gone into great analysis because the Honorable Azaz Chaudhry, who's the expert and led our Foreign Office, must have given you.
Started with abrogation of Article 370 and 35A of the Indian Constitution, converting the state of Jammu and Kashmir into two union territories of India. This was resisted by Kashmiris of all political dispensations, and as a consequence of which the situation remains quite troubling in the Indian occupied Kashmir, and the Indian government is also quite perplexed as to what it should do.
So it's all yours. As I say, it's just my participation. So you can keep it, you can use it. But there's one more thing I have to mention here. This Shafaq Jafri, she's the one who asked me to make something like this. So the credit goes to Shafaq as well.
My question is that why not we give more awareness of our own Pakistani people and of course the Kashmiri people in Azad Kashmir, because as is discussed before, but unfortunately there is no, in my knowledge, no dedicated channel.
My question is, I mean, we have relationships with China and we have relationships with the US. We are not a good relationship with the US at the moment, but we have, a working relationship with the US. Can we leverage our, these relationships with China and US to serve some sort of a peacemaking, role within China and America? I mean, because they may not have very common friends out there.
Now, last year we have been also talking about the barbarism of the Modi. We are talking about a criminal person. I wish we can bring him to justice one day, and he won't be escaped from the justice.
Honorable Commissioner Pakistan Babar Amin had organized a webinar to commemorate Youm Istahsal titled Kashmir Right to Self-Determination and Demographic Engineering in Indian Occupied Jammu and Kashmir was held at Pakistan High Commission, Canberra. A question and answer session was followed by the webinar. A photo exhibition on the human rights violation occupied Kashmir was also organized.
Talk about Muslim community, Muslim brotherhood, especially Muslim countries such as UAE, Saudi Arabia. Why are they not standing with us? Why they are not standing with us? Are we not able to deliver the message properly? Or where do you think we are lacking? This is one of the major issues of Kashmir.
Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir, IIOJK. Simultaneously, it embarked on a diabolical plan to alter the demographic structure of its occupied territory. While during the past 73 years, India has unleashed every human rights.
The webinar was attended by the high-level parliamentarians, officials, diplomats, community members. Speakers highlighted the human rights situation in India-occupied Jammu and Kashmir. Speakers were President Azad Jammu Kashmir Sardar Masood Khan, former Senator Lee Rehanian, Mr. David Shoebridge, Member of Legislative Council of New South Wales, Miss Amy McMahon, MP Dr. Clude.
Determination and demographic engineering in Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir, IIOJK. I would also like to express my gratitude to all those who are participating here today at the High Commission's premises, as well as those who have joined us from various Australian states world over as Youm Istahsal, or Day of Exploitation, Oppression and Usurpation. The Indian State Minister for Home Affairs has himself admitted that about 3.4 Kashmir domicile certificates were issued to non-Kashmiris between
the second anniversary of Indian Prime Minister Modi's decision to unilaterally revoke Article 370 and Article 35A of the Indian Constitution. He also abolished Jammu and Kashmir statehood and created two Delhi-controlled territories, Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh.
We start by saying that these past 2 years have been traumatic and tragic for the people of Jammu and Kashmir. Imagine that our population, the entire population, remains shackled and manacled for the past 2 years. On 5th of August 2019,
the 5th of August will forever remain an ominous day in the Jammu and Kashmir calendar. The people of this region have faced 7 decades of extreme human rights abuses and acts of genocide. Much of this has been caused by India's intense militarisation of the region and India's own involvement in terrorist activities.
As we know, the 5th of August was a very black day for the people of Kashmir, and not just for the people of Kashmir, but for people around the world who are looking to a world order based upon human rights, based upon rule of law, and based upon the fundamental set of values that I think many of us hoped.
And so as a result, I thought that I would touch a little bit on the COVID situation in Kashmir. We've already heard some of this, but I thought it would be relevant to touch on the interactions between militarism and healthcare more broadly. Militarism is a growing factor in a complex network of social, political and economic causes that contribute.
Dr. Clude stated that situation in Kashmir is grave due to the continued lockdown. He appreciated Pakistani Prime Minister Imran Khan, in which he called for the resolution of Indian illegally occupied Jammu Kashmir issue. Senator Lee Rehanian highlighted the extremist Hindutva policies of the Indian government which were targeting Muslims as minorities. Babar Amin also informed that the Indian activities had been accompanied by communications blockade, internet shutdown, enforced disappearances of political activists. Babar Amin thanked all the speakers for their positions.